From Studio A in beautiful downtown Lake Worth, Texas, at One Biloxi Square, this is the Grandpa and Pappy Show.
Indeed it might be.
What is up, amigo?
Oh, man, I'd much rather be on the lake today. Beautiful
It's
outside.
a great day.
Beautiful
It really
outside.
is.
It is.
The NFL draft is now complete.
Yeah.
Our own Dallas Cowboys got an A rating from all the experts around the league for their draft picks.
They got a thumbs up for me.
Yeah,
for a
they really
couple of
did.
them,
Got C.D. Lamb from Oklahoma. Oh, golly, that hurts. But anyway,
Yeah. And,
we'll
reprogram it.
yeah, we'll pass it up today. I tell you what,
He's a hell of a
it's really
ball
good to have all of you in with us today. It
welcome
is a
aboard.
beautiful day, another day of quarantine, but getting closer to the time when we can get back to normal, Pappy.
Well, define normal.
Back to our regular routines and seeing human beings again. That's,
You mean the field office to be open again? That's
I
my
would
regular
love that.
routine, yeah.
Would you guys please open that damn place up before we go crazy?
That's right. Either that or set tables up or we can go hang out again.
Yeah, Pappy's
I don't know,
Pappy's butt sits in another chair and it don't know what to do.
Changes the shape of it. It's awkward.
That is very true. That is very true.
How you doing, buddy?
Man, I'm doing good. We were doing a lot of research for today's program, pork barrel spending by Congress, and I don't know about you, but some of the stuff that I researched and found numbers on, which I'll be sharing with you here in a little bit,
Yeah.
just absolutely floored me.
Oh, yeah.
It just floored
I
me.
thought yesterday's numbers were hard to wrap my head around. Just scanning through what you popped out is.
Yeah. But anyway, that's what we're going to talk about today. We'll we did get a few comments from our viewers on today's show, which I'll share with you. Frank Edgar wrote he was stunned at the last bill passed to help businesses. He asked why Republicans signed off on trillions of dollars. Well, Frank, it's a good question. And one that basically we're going to try to answer here for you here in just a minute.
Because they can.
Yeah, yeah, because they can.
Because they can. Marla Chestnut wrote to say perhaps she is wrong, but she was under the impression that it was $45 billion from what she saw. She's coming from a household with one self-employed person in a very small business that has been forced to shut down, and they need help. That is a very popular thing today.
Well, yeah, I mean, look at all these folks, Pappy, that's lost their job, and that's something we'll be talking about on our next program.
Well, hang tough, Marley.
Yeah.
You and Tiff. I'm sure the door is going to be kicked open here pretty soon.
I sure hope so.
I hope for everybody's sake.
Cameron S. of Louisiana says that any congressman guilty of adding pork barrel spending should be expelled from Congress immediately.
I agree.
Now, this last one, I'm going to let you read because it's a good one.
All right.
It's a good one.
Carol Thomas wrote in on Twitter saying that this Congress needs just an old-fashioned enema.
That'd be.
Yeah, because they are full of it. That's funny.
I remember the first
for sending
Batman
that in.
movie. That's probably where she got that. The first Batman movie, where Jack Nicholson was the Joker, and he says, "This town needs an enema." I remember that.
And he gave them one, too.
Yeah, boy, he did, didn't he?
You know, and I mean, excuse my ignorance, and you know me, I don't dive into politics like I should, and and I know it's fixing to be raining political remarks because of it's an election year.
Well, yeah.
But I had zero clue what the hell pork barrel politics were until you told me. I'd never heard that term.
Really?
Yeah.
Serious? You never heard it?
And I noticed you highlighted on my copy of the notes what is pork barrel politics. And for those of you that are as ignorant as I am and could give a hoot less about political crap,
Right.
pork barrel politics is the legislature's practice of slipping funding for local project into a larger appropriations bill. Kind of like the Kennedy Center.
Kind of like slipping things through.
Yeah, I might have to start practicing some of that.
You know,
I'm getting broke.
You got my vote, Harley. If you'll just put in this $50 million here.
That's right. I'll give you 2 votes.
Well, it was very interesting because the latest or the first relief bill that was passed by Congress, when it was being proposed, Pappy, it was chock full of stuff.
No, you know.
And the president said, hey, there's no way I'm signing this as it is. You guys are going to have to go in and make some cuts.
Yeah.
So the Republican side decided, okay, if we're going to help the American people, we got to get the majority Democratic congressman in the House to be happy. So they went through and started slashing some stuff, allowing some stuff, just so relief could get to Americans.
Well, and that's what it is. It's so chock full of requests. It's kind of like a trickle-down effect.
Well, you're going to find out.
Slice and dice, and then this one will pass and that one won't.
In case y'all want to get a pencil and paper, everybody, and write this down.
Or a sponge brick to throw at your screen.
That's exactly right. $2 trillion relief bill, Pappy. Now, I want you to listen to this. Now, this has nothing to do with the money that was supposed to be allocated to send to Americans, okay, to help them get along since we're not working. That's what the intent of the original bill was, correct?
Gotcha, yeah.
So listen to this. This $2 trillion, get ready, includes $638 billion of that goes to union pension debt. Yeah, that's the same thing I saw.
Oxymoronic, isn't it? I mean, don't they create their own?
Now we're not talking bad about unions here, but
no, by no means.
I'm sorry if your people that's running that keeps putting you in debt. You know, it's not my job. It's not my job to do that. $638 billion, Pappy. Just think of that.
That's a chunk of change.
Yeah. And adding higher emission standards for airlines is another one they slipped through. Expanding wind and solar tax credits. Now it gets fun. $25 million went to the Kennedy Center for Performing Arts.
Yeah.
Now,
and you can't even get through the door right now. So.
I mean, they fired everybody. From what I understand, they fired all their employees so they could keep the money.
I'm sure they've got a chain running through the doorknob, you know.
Now listen to this. $10.8 billion went to international development. $350 million of that went to refugee settlement.
Boo. That's crazy.
The stupidity of this is just killing me. Maybe I have too much common sense, Pappy. Maybe we just look at it from a common sense and shouldn't.
Well, they'll tell you real quick you're just looking at it the wrong way, you know.
Now, we're all in favor of broadcasting stations. But $75 million of it went to the PBS stations.
Have we got a check yet?
No.
What'd you do with the money, Jack?
Well, it's somewhere here.
Well, we'll look for it.
Okay. Well, let's see. Now, I love this one. And you should love this one, too, out there listening. $93 million, Pappy, went to Congress, of which $25 million of it is for congressional raises.
Yeah.
Here we are starving to death.
Yeah.
They're making all kinds of perks and good money up there, and just give them another raise.
Not doing anything, reaping the rewards, you know.
$75 million went to the National Foundation of the Arts and Humanities. $50 million went for the Institute of Museum and Library Services. $7.5 million of this bill is going for the Smithsonian Institute. and $400 million to the states for election security grants, but does not say that the money must go to create mail-in ballot systems. Now,
Wow. Well, all righty.
Jump in, Jiminy. Nancy,
Your tax dollars hard at work.
Nancy, I need a bourbon.
That's right. More like Nancy, I need a joint.
Now stop and think.
That's
Stop
crazy.
and think here, Pappy, just a second. I have not heard of a second round of checks going to any of Americans that are still having to stay at home, and many of you do not have jobs as a result of being forced, your businesses being forced to shut down because of coronavirus. That's not your fault.
But aren't they talking about that? I mean,
The second round is going to go toward businesses.
SBA.
Yeah, but look at all this money, Pappy, that I just read off to
That's
you.
been approved. It just hadn't been released for SBA.
That's correct.
They're
still negotiating, but it looks like it's going to pass. And
it'll be released by the 1st, I believe. Now, that's what I was told from a neighbor friend who is a CEO at a local bank.
it did pass. Thank
it's
you.
been passed, and the
Special
money's been
K.
allotted, but
But the president, I don't think has signed it, has he? He did sign it.
Have you?
Well,
Yeah,
our
it
Miss,
just- it just
our
hasn't been-
news girl over here, Special K.
It just hasn't been released yet. Is what I was told.
Okay,
So,
yeah. It hasn't been distributed.
Correct. Yeah.
But I mean, stop. This is what kills me, America. This is what just absolutely tears me up about our congressman.
Mm-hmm.
This whole list that I just read, millions and billions of dollars could go to financing a second round of relief for the Americans that are not working, Pappy, instead of going to all this crap.
Well, my question is this: how much of that money is trickling down to somebody's pocket or pockets?
That's a damn good question.
I mean, you have people that get into Congress. You have a person that's a Speaker of the House. It's got a net worth of a buttload of money compared to what she was worth before she came in. Where's that money coming from? Our pockets.
Now, you explained to me, Pappy, how a congressman can go in making $160,000 a year. That's what their salary is, plus their little perks for their expenses and staff, okay? Which is not bad money.
No.
And now they're all millionaires.
Well, prime example. What's the presidential salary? About $400,000 a year, something like that.
It used to be, I believe it is $400,000. Yeah.
Maybe 400 some change.
Yeah.
One of our illustrious presidents, who Obama's name I won't mention, was worth a net worth of $120 million when he exited the White House.
Go figure.
And
Go
I'm
figure.
I'm sure dollars and pennies. I need to be corrected, but it was in excess of $120 million.
It's
when he
just,
left the White House.
it's just some of the
How
craziest
so?
things I've ever seen.
It is.
I mean, I don't understand it. I don't understand why the American people don't stand up, stomp their foot, and say enough's enough.
That's
I've had it.
That's why we're having the problems we are today. Everybody bitches about it, but nobody steps up to the plate and does anything. about it.
You're right.
I'm guilty of that.
Yeah, well,
I'll
I
raise
think
hell
we
now.
all are. I think we all are.
Yeah, but you can rest assured I'll be voting come November 2.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now, you Republicans out there, this goes for you too. There are other Republicans out there that can take your seats. So
Absolutely.
you guys got to get off your ass
Pay attention.
and start doing something for this country instead of what can this country do for you.
You are there for the American people.
You weren't elected to go up and get rich.
Do your job. You're not going to live long enough to spend all the damn money anyway, so what the hell?
You know, these pork barrel policies that they've had, it's been around for a while. If I may read this to you,
Yeah, go
pork
ahead.
barrel spending and the intersection of money and politics extend back more than a century
Really?
in U.S. politics. Abraham Lincoln, for example, good old Honest Abe, traded Civil War contracts to Northern businessmen
Yeah.
in exchange for patronage jobs and campaign support. On a more local level, the early 20th century New York government was dominated by Tammany Hall, a political organization that frequently bartered government contracts for political power. So you can see how this works, everybody.
Well, it's a leveraging tactic, which has been distorted into financial gain.
And there's been
the way I see it.
There's been some real stupid things that have been pushed through Congress in a bill to fund different things. Let's take a look at all this.
It's both sides that are doing it.
It is. I'm not saying it's one.
Not the far left, far right. It is both sides.
I understand that
because they're allowed to.
Well, true that. The latest figures on the relief bill, those that came from the Democrats this year. Yeah. But Pappy's right. I mean, in the past, it's all gone, both ways. Yeah. It really has. Yeah. I don't know if you had a chance to look at these, Pappy. I want to go over those with you.
Please do, yeah. I've been eyeballing them from afar. So.
From afar. Let me give you a good classic example of pork barrel spending in the past, everybody, that did pass Congress, got a presidential signature, and got their money. And it was all brought up by some different politicians to aid the people in their area. Now, the bridge to nowhere. I've heard about this, but I didn't.
This is just one sample of what
this is one sample now. I'm going to give you another one here in a minute. The American public turned against earmarking money through pork barrel politics toward the end of 2005. Now, this was in a response to a large federal highway transportation bill that included concessions for the state of Alaska. Okay. Now, Congress initially approved more than $230 million for the infamous Bridge to Nowhere. It was the proposal was for the construction of a bridge.
What year was this?
This was 2005.
Wow.
The proposal was for the construction of a bridge that would connect the town of Ketchikan, Alaska, to the airport on Gravina Island. Now, the former had a population of less than 9,000, while the latter only had 50 residents.
And the airport on that island, I mean, that's just a landing strip, isn't it?
That's it.
How many people live there? About 4?
50. 50 is on that island.
About as big as Lukenbach, huh?
Yeah. Now, the project was going to be funded by the federal taxpayers, with only a few Alaskans reaping the benefit, but it was shot down.
Go figure.
After public outcry, I rest my case, Your Honor, the funds were rerouted and the project was scrapped. But they almost pulled it off.
They almost got away with it, didn't they?
Now, that's a classic example, ladies and gentlemen, of what you need to do.
The government had to pay for his own damn yacht that year, I guess.
Yes, sir.
Lord have mercy.
But this is a classic example of what you people need to do. We can only tell you, and we can only ask you so many times. The bottom line is you're going to have to write your congressmen and your representatives and tell them to get off their ass and start doing something for the people.
Just like the politicians, get off your ass and make a change. We outnumber them.
Yeah, we do. That's what kills me.
That's what lines their wallets, is people that don't step up. And like I said, guilty. I'm guilty of it,
Well, get off your ass.
Well, I'm comfortable.
You're saving that ass for the field office.
Right. As soon as I finish my coffee, I'll consider that.
Excuse me. So sorry. Now, here's another example, Pappy. It's the Big Dig project in Boston.
Yeah, I remember hearing about this.
Yeah, I do too now that I was reading it. A 3.5 mile section of the highway that was relocated underground. It was one of the most expensive highway projects in the country, not to mention one of the most complicated because of delays, deaths, and flaws. Federal funds were directed to the local projects by then Speaker of the House, Tip O'Neill, who is incidentally from Boston.
Yeah, go
Yeah.
Peter. Coincidence? I don't think so.
Well, I'm not going there anymore.
No.
I just don't understand. Initiated in 1982, the project was finally completed in 2007.
Wow.
The entire project cost nearly $15 billion, a cost significantly higher than the original budget of almost $3 billion.
That's quite a difference.
Yes.
They must have forgot to add something in a quote, I guess.
I just don't understand all this.
Jesus Christ almighty.
I love blue dresses for some reason.
Make the wubba swine with mine.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. We paid for that one, too.
Now, here's one final example for you. Historically now, the Department of Defense, the DOD, Appropriations Act, contains the most pork of anything. In the 2014 fiscal year budget, more than $90 million was allocated for tank upgrades that the U.S. Army did not even want. They didn't even want it.
Must have had a true leader.
The
back in
award
the
was
day.
apparently made because the supplier of the tanks had operations across several congressional districts.
By God.
Whoop-tee-doo.
Did they mention what districts those were?
No, they did not. I wish my old friend Greg Hill, I'm going to get him on here. One day, this guy is so smart. He researches everything like you would not believe. This guy knows his stuff when it comes to politics. And he and I have had several discussions in the past years. And I see his every once in a while. Greg, if you're listening, I see some of your posts sometimes on Facebook. And
I've seen a couple of them.
brother, I can't agree with you more. I
Over
mean,
my head,
you slap the hands of those that are putting out the false information and tell them right where to go look to find out the truth on this.
Well, in bottom line, just as you had mentioned in your research, the practice of pork barrel politics relates to crony capitalism. In cases
Boy, now
like,
that puts it right in the nutshell.
Booyah. In cases like this, the relationships between businessmen and the government are what determine success, not the free market. There's nothing free anymore.
Damn it, people. Get
Never
off
has
your
been.
butts and
Never
call
has
your
been.
congressman.
right.
Oh, this is just killing me. I mean, we're
Rather
at a
there,
time,
yeah.
Pappy, we're really at a time that is so critical right now in the life of our country.
Yeah, well, that you've screwed around and got my interest riled on all this pork
I'm
belly
telling you,
spinning. That's
you
what I
folks
call it.
watching right now, chances are you're hurting economically because you're not working.
Right.
I understand this, and God bless you. I mean, I say prayers every night to the good Lord to bless this country again and get us back to work.
Yeah.
But I do understand in some way, okay, the government shutting things down to let this thing go by the wayside.
If that's the only agenda behind the shutdowns, I do too.
Yeah.
But I still have it stuck deep in my craw that there's an agenda behind all this.
I agree.
You can blame whoever in the hell you want to. I don't care.
China.
So, China, Trump, whoever. I don't care. I think there's an agenda behind it. I really do. I think there's something stinky going on behind all this. I really do.
I couldn't agree more. I couldn't agree more. And God bless him. I really do feel for our president. He's getting lambasted from every side.
He's aged a lot since he took.
Yes, he
took
has.
the-
And God bless him, all the stuff he's had to put on his shoulders. President Trump, if you're listening out there, if it gets back to you, we love you. You hang in there because it's going to get easier one way or the other, it's going to get easier.
Got my vote this year, big boy.
Yeah, we'll go 2020 for you, big boy.
I wished you'd shave your head and grow a beard. You'd look cooler that way. But
It looked like Jerry Garcia.
that's right. Like a Hell's Angel or something.
I like kind of a certain picture I saw yesterday of a certain personality sitting to my left.
We probably won't go into that. Hey,
Yeah.
it looked like I had a full head of hair except for that one big bald spot on the back.
It was a great comb over, though.
well, like I told you, I'm gonna grow it out in the back, and I'm gonna comb it up and clip some bangs.
You know, ladies and gentlemen, we really have had some, shall we say, heated discussion today about this pork barrel spending, and I can't say it enough. It is so important and so relevant that you let your congressmen and representatives know you don't appreciate them putting all of this crap in this bill, because that would have freed up so much more money to have a round 2 or maybe a round 3 check until you get back.
Or to find a cure.
Well, they got so many billions of dollars already allocated to that. I'm just talking about our American people.
Well, I mean, it brings to mind to me just, for example, cancer.
Yes.
There's no doubt in my mind they've had a cure for cancer for years, and you're sitting next to somebody that had a 27 centimeter cyst in his right lung. I didn't take any chemo or radiation. I don't have it now.
Okay. Well,
CBD. Oil. We got to throw the oil in. Mm-hmm. It cured it.
that's another good one, Harley.
It cured it. That's right. You know what?
I'll be darned. I heard.
Why is your nose purple?
I really did hear this, that when the United States resumed relations with Cuba, that it was brought to light. You know, Cubans down there smoke cigars like people smoke cigarettes. You know,
a couple of times.
I mean, and they don't have people die of lung cancer. They have a cure that they were willing to share with the United States, but the FDA at that time said they wouldn't take it because it would take at least 10 years of testing.
Well, it would put a lot of space in their ability to make money off of it. That's what it is. Oops, did I say that?
Well, maybe not so much the FDA, but the companies, the drug companies and stuff like that.
Enter more pork belly spending is what I call it.
You're getting into this, aren't you?
I'm starting to get pissed off thinking about it. I don't have any pork for my belly, so by God, somebody needs to share or change it. You know?
Well, it's been a very interesting program talking about this, and we can't tell you enough again to write your congressman and let them know that you're not happy.
Let your voices be heard.
Pappy, let's take a look at some of the viewer comments from our past show.
Let's do that.
Before we wrap things up, because we want to get you folks some notoriety for taking the time and letting us know what was on your mind.
Okay.
Go ahead, Pap.
Okay, I figured you'd let me start this off. Sarah Patton, our dear buddy from yesterday, said on YouTube that she's really disappointed in us cutting down Congresswoman Ocasio-Cortez in our news coverage program. She says it is behavior like that which spurs hatred.
Now, there was more to that as I was transcribing
Why
this.
did you cut that off, by the way?
Why did you delete the rest of it, Sarah? We were going to give you credit.
Yeah.
We've said it many times.
Kudos for your opinion, by the way.
It doesn't matter what you have to say, pro or con. We're going to cover it here.
That's right.
But we have an
Equal
opinion
rights.
of our own.
Equal rights.
Sarah, I stand by what I said yesterday about Ocasio-Cortez until the lady starts showing me something else.
Well, and not so much me. Cortez can kiss my ass. I mean, there's no room for people like that.
Why don't you tell them the way you really feel, mister?
We'd probably get cut off.
Albert Reyes wrote on Twitter that he can't understand why the American people continue to allow our government leaders to get away with the stupidity they have displayed over the last 3 years? Is there no one other than President Trump who is being held accountable for their actions?
Not according to the news.
That's a damn truth.
As Helen would say, that damn Trump.
Yeah. Thank you, Albert.
Robert Simmons of Houston wrote back in to say that we need to keep our barrage on things that are not right in our country. And I agree, brother. He thinks we need to have a show on Sirius Satellite and really poke it to them. Hey, I like the way you think.
Yeah, well,
that's
shoot,
a
I don't
good
know
point.
if I got it in me to do an everyday show anymore. I really don't.
Yeah.
We're gonna wind it up, I should say. William Ames says we were right on target talking about the news coverage we're exposed to in today's world. William, thank you. We did our best to show you exactly what was going on today.
And it all goes back to our research. Just as my compadre here says, we have gotten in the habit of researching everything because I mean we don't mind being disagreed with, but nobody likes a ass chewing over something they don't know anything about. But we do that, and we appreciate all your comments, your ideas, your suggestions. Keep them coming.
That's correct.
Grandpa and Pappy at gmail.com. Keep them coming.
Mm-hmm. Or go on to our webpage at www.grandpa, the letter N, Pappy.com. Again, that's www.grandpainpappy.com.
That's right.
You can not only are you going to be able to see our current show.
They have a big red button there, too.
They have a big red button where you can subscribe to YouTube, which we would appreciate very, very much. It's absolutely free.
And while there, give us a thumbs up, and by all means, tell a friend about it.
And at the bottom of the page, you can actually go on Twitter, LinkedIn, and a couple of other places where you can voice your opinions.
And if you're a binge watcher, you can pull up all our shows.
Absolutely, yeah. You can go on our YouTube channel and just look them up.
That's right.
Okay. Well, next show, we're going to kind of be talking similar, Pappy, about what we've touched on today.
I think we should.
Will your company call you back to work when it is allowed?
Oh, we have friends right here that's happening to.
Should companies be regulated if they received SBA loans?
Well, I know of one such place I used to eat at in Houston.
Yeah.
Who is it? Ruth Christie's Steakhouse.
Ruth's Chris. Yeah.
They got $20 million off this deal, and they immediately turned it back in because somebody spanked their hand.
Make my day. Yes. But it should be fun, and we'll be coming back to you with another program.
Yep.
We want to thank you very much for joining us today. It's been a lot of fun. Pappy, thanks. Good show.
Well, I know we love you.
Absolutely.
Thank you for
Until
joining in.
next time, we'll see you soon.